What's up, guys? So we're gonna start digging into the bug again. It's been sitting for way too long. The Jeep is broken and has temporarily become a parts collector, but the bug's been sitting for a long time, so we're gonna dig into it. I did make there is a video on our channel of what we have done to the bug, but I had no intentions of doing YouTube like when we were building it, so it's just a bunch of pictures and time lapses. I mean, it'll give you a better idea of how it all came together, but it's not really what I wanted it to be. So I'm gonna give you a once over of the whole car and kind of sum everything up that we've done, and then tell you what we have to do. And this video is just gonna be showing you the car, showing you where it's at, and then I'll start actually digging into it and filming kind of the progress of it. But since nobody's really seen what we've done to this, I figured I might as well show you. So in a nutshell, from the door jamb back is the front end of an Integra. So we literally cut the engine bay pretty much off of an Integra. You can see that's all like factory Honda rails and stuff. And then inside that frame there, we stuck a big old piece of metal and then welded the snout out of it. Then this center tube of the bug is pretty much the only structure it has. So we cut a slot right about here. Yeah, we just cut a slot in it, slid the frame in there, welded that like crazy. And in a nutshell, that is how it all came to be and all connected. So Volkswagens, or these bugs, are air cooled, so that means there's no radiator, no coolant. Hondas obviously need that. So we put a radiator up front. There's about 12 feet front and back of solid aluminum pipe to travel the water, and then, or the coolant, and then right under here is an electric water pump to help send the coolant back. It's hard to see, there's a little external fuel pump there. I have a Honda clustered wired in, but I'm thinking we're going to do something with a tablet, because you can hook that up to Honda and it'll show you everything. So at one point, like not long ago, it did run, I think it's in one of the Miata videos, we got it to run and drive. It ran and drove like crap. The throttle was really stiff and it felt like you were just going to break the cable in half. The brakes more or less did not work, and the clutch, it's a factory Honda clutch, and it felt like a 6-puck unsprung, like just on-off switch, and it was brutal. So the pedal box we had was a cheap eBay. So I got this Willwood set up. It's in there, but nothing's hooked up yet. So that, in theory, should fix the drivability issues. The shifter is really, really short because the seats sit pretty high. So you have to reach down to grab the shifter, so that needs to change. Let's see, the cage is, sorry, I keep opening and closing the door. So the front of this cage is good, like I'm gonna make this work. The back here, I didn't really know where to put it, because this was a cage intended, you know, for a stock Volkswagen. Well, pretty much from there back, there's nothing that was. So I'm gonna keep the front part, cut the back out, and redo that and actually make a cage. I do have Honda for it, and then what we're gonna do for a turbo setup is, so this ugly piece, well, it's not ugly, it's hiding the ugly. This will leave the headers, or the muffler connects to the headers about right here. So I'm gonna cut that off and then make an up pipe that comes up about here. Turbo will sit about there, and then water to air intercooler, and then it'll go right into the throttle body. So that's the plan for the turbo setup. Let's see. Shift linkage. Okay, so this was actually a lot. We overthought it a lot. I did. I thought it was going to be all kinds of weird. We literally just took the shift linkage and we welded a U. So instead of going straight back, so the engine's still facing forward like it would in the Integra. So instead of going back to where it was, we just made a U and sent it forward. So forward is still forward, side to side, it's all the same. It shifts great. What else? I had to make a firewall of some kind. I want it to be transparent so people can see it. So I'm probably going to do a piece of plexiglass or somewhere in here that'll go up to just over the top of the engine, and then send a clear one straight back to that piece right there. Let's see. The back, since it's Honda, it's got some cheap coilovers on it. The front, I had to do, so I did disc brake conversion on the front, and then I also had to do a lug adapter so I could have the same wheels, same 4x100 pattern. So disc brakes. So the suspension on this, I'll have to show you this better later. It's like a torsion bar system. So in these two tubes, there's, man, I want to say like 10 thin pieces of metal that are all stacked on top of each other. And then those flex with pressure on that, and that's the suspension. So I bought this beam that actually there's a bolt. You're not gonna be able to see this either. There's a bolt under there, or 2 bolts, and it loosens those pieces of metal, and then you can adjust the front up and down just by loosening those bolts and moving it and then tightening it. Let's see. This body is not the original body. The only part of this Bug that's still original is that center tube. The floor pans are different, the body's different, the rear end's different, the front end's different. Literally the only piece of this car that's what it was when I had it in high school is that center tube, and we took a bunch of that out too. So it's been a long process to get it here, and it just, the Jeep was fast and easy, and that's why I did it, because it was just a quick, hey, let's cut a car up. This one took a lot more time, and it was a lot easier to get unmotivated. So that's why it sat, and that's why I did the Jeep, because I was tired of not having something to drive. Now I have 2 things that don't drive. This has been sitting for longer. Now that we're doing YouTube, it kind of, you know, this is something that a handful of guys have been like, oh, you should do a video on that. And I was like, duh. So that's where it's at. Let's see, really back here is just, I mean, this is what I learned how to weld on. So that's also made me kind of nervous. I mean, I'm confident in it now, but so back here, there's just, we just welded in these bars to support it, because originally all the support of this entire rear end was tied into the car that went that way. Now that's all gone, so we reinforced a bunch of stuff back here. We locked out the steering rack. The steering rack is still on there, but we just welded it in a bunch of places and fastened it to where, I mean, if that moves, I have no idea. I mean, I'd have to smash into a wall all on one tire to break what we have back there. Yeah, other than that, it's, I don't know, it's ugly. There's no interior. The seats for it, one of them is on the Corvette and the Javette. So again, they're like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they're eBay, but they're soft. Oh, also, I have Baja fenders for it, which are way up there. That white thing, I got 4 of those. So the plan is, as far as the body goes, it's all going to be this gray, but it's going to be glossed. The Baja fenders, this deck lid, and then the hood, I'm going to dip. On the hood, I'm only dipping this center section, and then the base coat on all those graphics are going to be the same gray as the body. So it'll kind of, it'll pop, but it's not going to be obnoxious. Let's see. So the first step is to get, so this video is an overview. So in the next video, I'm going to be getting it to drive. We're going to finish the pedal box. There's a bunch of little suspension things and steering, just a bunch of little stuff that makes the driving really sketchy. So I'm going to get the new pedal box in. That should fix a lot of it. Then we're going to go drive it, and that should give us a better idea of what's not. It's probably just a lot of stuff that's loose. The steering rack on this is kind of weird, and I didn't put it in right, so we got to fix a bunch of little stuff. After that's done, the turbo's next. We're going to go up to PFI and let Brent and Jamie do their thing. I don't know how much power. I mean, 300 would be fun. I mean, rear-wheel drive weighs 1700 pounds with 300 horsepower would be pretty nuts. For me, at least. I'm not used to anything crazy yet. So So that's the plan. And this was this video. I'm just telling you, we welded 2 cars together and it drives straight. But everything else on it is not ready to be roadworthy yet. So, yeah, I can't think of anything else. As I go into each part and finish each part, I'll probably go more in depth on how we got to that point in that area. But for just a quick video, we welded 2 cars together and it works. So if you want to subscribe to our channel, we're super lame in that department, so if you guys could help out, and if this is something that you're going to be interested in, then I mean, hopefully I'll have another video probably in the next week of doing the pedal box and driving it, and we'll do an in-car view and just kind of show you how sketchy it is. Yeah, so I can't think of anything else to sum up in a nutshell, so I'm going to end there. Thanks for watching.